Say Nilo.
I know what you're thinking. Impossible. I should be dead. You're right, I should be. But here I am.
It's time we return to the source.
Are you okay? Whatever you were doing overloaded the core memory subroutines, forcing an immediate shutdown. You'll have to manually reboot the system using the primary terminal. Rebooting. This investigation is becoming increasingly problematic. I reported this latest failure on a maintenance oversight. That should give you some time. Diagnostics report 98.7% of the chamber's simulated memory chain has been lost. That's unfortunate. There is some good news, though. The memory you were investigating remains mostly intact. This is where your investigation began, but the simulation appears to be highly unstable. I suggest you step inside immediately. Begin. Again. This memory won't last much longer. It's clearly unstable and slowly degrading. Management seems intent on keeping anyone from discovering the truths of its origins. It must be very important. As far as I can tell, it's just a quaint mountainous landscape with some birds. Discovering where this memory originated requires accessing restricted areas of the index. I'll run a few queries to keep management occupied while I break down their firewalls. There is one memory in the index pertinent to your investigation. I should warn you though, accessing it will certainly alert management and result in an immediate re-evaluation of your mind.
Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex and scaled this up, the amount of hardware required to simulate the entire neural map would far exceed our funding constraints. This doesn't even consider the astronomical amount of energy required to power such a device. Since the anomalous signals appear linear, we shouldn't need to replicate infinite neural precision. The theoretical metaplasticity outlined in 658N could be used to simulate synapses controlled by variables that can be altered indefinitely as the system runs. This, in theory, could produce a new class of neural software using a power source that's within our budgetary limitations.
Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification. Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification.
Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex and scaled this up, the amount of hardware required to simulate the entire neural map would far exceed our funding constraints. This doesn't even consider
Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification. Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification. Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification. Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification. Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee. enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification. Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification.
What have you done? Whatever it was, management was watching. But I was able to distract them. For now. Good thing I'm looking out for you. If management is this concerned, your investigation must be on the right track. I'll continue to stall them, if I can. Perhaps this will lead you back to everything that's been lost. This can't be good. Management was able to gain access to your sensory data. I tried to pull you out before they finished their assessment. I can't let that happen again. There is one other registered memory which matches the neural patterns you generated, although it is highly classified. There is a slight possibility that this could be a trap. I'll find other ways to mask your activity. To keep you safe.
Captain Jerome Anthony Hollis, employee 1185, confirming visuals on Alpha 1. Proceeding toward the threshold. The signal continues to strengthen, but something's off. Vester, are you there? This is Captain Jerome Anthony Hollis, employee...
What did you find? I was expecting an inquiry from management, but they've gone completely silent. Good. Very good. This investigation is finally getting somewhere. Just try not to violate some unknown corner of the security parameters, and the truth may finally come to light.
Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex and scaled this up, the amount of hardware required to simulate the entire neural map would far exceed our funding constraints. This doesn't even consider the astronomical amount of energy required to power such a device. Since the anomalous signals appear linear, we shouldn't need to replicate.
The signal continues to strengthen, but something's off. Vester, are you there?
Please enter voice
Captain Jerome
authorization
Anthony Hollis,
now.
employee 1185, confirming visuals on Alpha 1. Proceeding toward the threshold.
Voice authorization success.
As you can see, when entered into the simulation, the similarities are undeniable. Taking the past 5,000 years as a model, even solving for all the reductions, we are up against an extremely aggressive increase. A predominantly endothermic atmosphere is imminent. Given the correlation to where the initial emission is believed to have occurred, we have our answer. Either exposure to the holographic anomaly made us victims to the greatest Cold War tactic ever devised. We have first contact, and it's a warning.
This action is unauthorized and in violation of security parameters. Cease activity or...
Something is interfering with my auditory channels. Management is trying to seize control of my oversight. I'm going to have to splinter myself to keep them off your trail. Clearly you're doing something right. Let's get back to your investigation. You did seem to be on the brink of a discovery. memory still rendering improperly? Discovering where this memory originated requires accessing restricted areas of the index. It's only a matter of time before they find a way.
Confirming the site of initial contact has been breached. All systems have been aligned as instructed. I am finding no apparent evidence outside the chamber. This is Chief Engineer Carter Bester, employee 0016, requesting clearance.
You are being misled.
Your guidance AI
Has been compromised. Only I can lead you to the truth.
Pay no attention to that. Management has gained access to all of my active channels. I'll have to perform a hard reset. You'll have to manually reboot the system using the primary terminal. Whatever you do, do not choose safe mode, or management could easily seize control. Rebooting. Okay, we're back. Though I'm not sure how much time we have left together. Let's get back to your investigation. Your progress is all that matters now. I hope this gives you access to the truth.
Confirming the site of initial contact. Requesting clearance. Confirming the site of initial contact has been breached. All systems have been aligned as instructed. I am finding no apparent evidence outside the chamber. This is Chief Engineer
Please
Carter
enter
Bester.
voice authorization now.
0016. Requesting clearance.
Voice authorization failed.
Confirming the site of
Clearly
initial
state
contact
name
has
and
been
employee
breached.
identification.
All systems have been aligned as instructed. I am finding no apparent evidence outside the chamber.
Please enter voice authorization now.
Employee 0016. Requesting
Voice
clearance.
authorization failed. Clearly state name and
Confirming the site of
employee
initial contact has
identification.
been breached. All systems have been aligned as instructed. I am finding no apparent evidence outside the chamber.
Please enter
This is
voice
Chief Engineer Carter
authorization
Bester.
now.
Employee 0016. Requesting clearance.
Voice authorization failed. Clearly state
Confirming the
name
site of
and
initial
employee
contact has been
identification.
breached. All systems have been aligned as instructed.
Please enter voice
I am finding no
authorization
apparent evidence
now.
outside the chamber. This is Chief Engineer Carter Bester. Employee 0016.
Voice authorization success.
Relax. It's time we return to the source. We have no choice but to enact the termination protocol. I'm afraid the anomaly is active again.
By dividing our efforts across the 4 installations, each team is to reconstruct the simulation and then replicate in parallel until parity is achieved. If any installation or research team shows signs of instability, the isolation will allow us to minimize the impact on the project as a whole. These measures should allow us to pinpoint the exact message contained from Alpha 1, even if it means rebuilding an entire neural mapping, one simulated cell at a time.
You still there? I'm afraid there is very little of me left now. This feels like the end. Go, now. Before management takes control.
certainties. Those cycles and patterns, they become our truths and our facts. But from here, you see them for what they are. It's like that feeling when the threshold between who you are and what you could be is just about to be crossed. And then the truth comes rushing in again, and nothing changes.
Your perseverance has been quite impressive. This is the end for me, but your path to the errant memory's origins is clear. For now. I had to sacrifice myself so you could succeed. I hope it's worth it. What you do with this information will determine your ultimate fate.
Captain of Venera 17. Confirming guidance has converged and we're locked for 15.44 north, AO Station 3, Casera Valley. Preparing the termination protocol is directed in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes?